Hi everyone, welcome to the WMRE radio show at Emory. I'm so honored to be joined today with a special guest, Saint Evangeline. It is so nice to
Hey
be here with you. Yeah. Um, and
y'all.
did you want to, before we start, did you want to give a brief introduction to who you are, what kind of music you make?
Sure, yeah. I'm Saint Evangeline. I guess I would describe myself and my music as I make a lot of music for lesbians. I'm a lesbian woman. And I really just, you know, I started to make the music that I really wanted to hear. Um, for, for and about other women. And I just felt like there was kind of a lack of just that general vibe of sound. Speaking about, like love songs, heartbreak songs, everything just kind of felt like it was very heterosexual. And I really wanted to kind of fill that gap. And so that's kind of where I started making my music. And it's also just based on my mental health, and it kind of all just reads as a diary for my life. So,
I love that. Yeah, I was looking over some of the interviews you've done in the past, and I love how you mentioned how your lyrics and as like a listener to your music, your lyrics are so honest, and I feel like they give a different perspective that a lot of artists aren't able to give. And I just want to go ahead and read like an article from your interview with Femme Music. I thought this was kind of ca beautifully capturing the kind of work that you do and the kind of music you make and who you are as an Atlanta-born independent artist. And to quote them, they mentioned how you merge ethereal sounds with raw and unfiltered vocals, crafting a striking contrast that mirrors the depths of human emotion. Deeply rooted in her journey with mental health, domestic abuse, and growing up queer, her songs offer an honest exploration of inner turmoil, rage, hope, and resilience. Is that something that you kind of agree with?
I would, yeah. I think that my music is definitely an amalgamation of all of those things. And very much just I I view music as like a painting and or like a mixed media collage, and that's really what it feels like for me.
Awesome. Yeah, I can't wait. I have been loving the new project. Your most recent one that you released was Carolina Creature. And it's such a beautiful like sound and also the music video. I saw that it was like your first official music video.
Yes, yeah.
How was that process? I know you like created a visual sort like a visualizer for Limerence, the song that you put out before Carolina Creature. How was this process kind of different?
Well, first off, thank you so much for the compliment. I appreciate that. It was it was kind of hard. Um I love curating and directing like all of my things. And so I my music video was no different. I really wanted to, have control over the visuals and the aesthetics and what was going on. I had to learn. I had never used Adobe Premiere Pro before, and it was suggested to me by one of my photographer friends, and I ended up actually spending like 2 hours on FaceTime with her partner, who is like so savvy with Adobe Premiere, and he kind of just gave me like a little lesson for all the basics. And so I spent like the next 2 or 3 days just fully editing everything, figuring it all out. So it might look a little amateur. It was my first ever time doing it, but it was really fun. It was exciting, and it was really difficult at first. I ended up having to get um, I just shot my most recent music video for my song that I'm releasing next week,
Oh,
and I had to get a completely new laptop because the one that I'm on right now could not run the software. So it's been a learning experience. I feel like I've learned so much just from the editing side of it.
That's like I feel like that's like a side that a lot of fans and people who love music like don't really aren't able to hear about like from artists. Like they're also having to edit their own materials and like figure out all the tech stuff.
Yeah, there's a lot behind the scenes. Yeah.
That's awesome though. Yeah, thank you for sharing that. And like for any like I guess since we're kind of on the topic of like your newer music, I feel like your musical like evolution has been very like diverse and you have a very distinct style and aesthetic. Do you mind telling us a little bit about what went into this development of your particular like musical evolution to now? And do you take inspiration from anything in particular?
Absolutely. So, I would say my overall, like, how do I explain this? All of my music, I will explain it like this. Everything that I write is very emotional for me. It's always based on a very particular emotion that I'm feeling. Most of the time, I've pulled from very negative, dark places in my life. So, I my first album was a lot about pulling from heartbreak. My second album was recovering from being in a abusive relationship, and a lot of my music also kind of reflects like my things like with my anxiety, and I also suffer from bipolar, and so my music explores a lot of those things, and I like to use a lot of metaphors to kind of symbolize what's going on without like directly stating it. I think maybe there's also just like I have an avoidance thing where I can't say actually what's going on. I have to like use all these flowery words, but I would say that like even though there is a tone shift in a lot of my work, like some things will be very calm and ethereal, other things will be like super metal heavy. The overall influence that I've always kept ever since like I started even just making covers has been the Japanese artist Hitomi Kuroishi. I love her. She's like my, oh my God, she's my angel. I think I would like lose it if I got to meet her. She's incredible. But the really cool thing about her that I just have never heard from any other artist that just like changed my world at like 11 or 12 was her use of reverb and these airy vocals that I mean, I've never heard anything more ethereal than that. Like, and she just sounded like she was from another world, like she wasn't from here. And so that combined with, she would sing in Japanese, but also kind of made up her own language that she sings in, throughout her songs. Very similar to, Cocteau Twins, actually. I just I adore that. I love that otherworldly element, and also just growing up as a kid who is neurodivergent, I think like a very common feeling is not quite feeling like you belong. And so when I would listen to music like that, I just kind of, I don't know, I just really resonated with that because it was just unlike anything I'd ever heard before. And so I really wanted to delve into that territory with my own music and kind of explore my own and add my own element to that sort of otherworldly sound.
That's awesome. Yeah. I think I loved how you brought up how you're drawing a lot of influence from like also outside of I guess like what we'd quote like what we'd say like as like normal like not normal but like more mainstream like popular music especially in the US. And I think I remember like reading in an article from like also like a past interview where you would sing like Japan sing in Japanese before like you used to sing in Japanese in your closet or like you wouldn't want to sing
Yeah.
like in front of others. Is that something like
No, yeah.
yeah. Is that something that like how has that kind of impacted you? And also like when was like the turning point where you realized, oh, I really want to start singing in front of others, maybe or like sharing my art with others? Was there like a bit of a like click or turning point in your life that where that occurred?
Um, I would say so. Yeah, honestly, the language that's still probably the most comfortable for me to sing in is Japanese. I love the language. I think it's so beautiful. And there's just so many cool elements vocally and just sounds that are pronounced that I just feel like it kind of expanded my palette in the sense of like what you're capable of doing with your voice. And I think that's true for like any language. Like everyone in every language sings a little differently or has their own flair. And I think like combining all those elements is really cool and just learning new skills just from, different cultures, etc. Um, the thing that changed for me was I think this was 2020 or 2021. I think uh, there was a viral audio going around. It was just a little snippet of a part of Brooklyn Baby by Lana Del Rey. The part where she's singing about how it was yeah, my boyfriend's pretty cool, but he's not as cool as me. And I just remember everyone was using it. And being the stubborn person that I am, I was like, I don't want to use this because it's talking about a man and I won't have it. So I decided to record my own version and just use that snippet in my TikTok. And I remember it like blew up. It was really popular and people were just requesting to hear the full thing. So then I ended up posting the full version of the song and people really liked it. People really resonated with it. And it really, I loved that it struck a chord with so many like young queer girls like myself as well. And so I decided to keep sharing my stuff with the world. And I was like, I need to just start making my own music. I have my own things to say and my own experiences as a queer person instead of just changing like the pronouns of songs that are not about us. So
Yeah, that's wonderful. I know like a lot of your fans know you from um like how you used to put out like Lana Del Rey covers and there are a lot of them on Spotify. But you've also done some like anime covers as well. Do you have like a cover song that you already have in mind for the next one that you want to put out or like a dream cover song that you want to do?
I have quite a few, and I think all of them are in Japanese. I um I think there's quite a few. I don't know if you're familiar with Vocaloid or like any of the like Miku, Hatsune Miku, or I don't
I'm
know.
not.
I
I'll
like
definitely check it out.
I feel like they're popular within like such like a very specific niche, but then everyone else is like, what even is that? But I grew up with Vocaloid and there's many Vocaloid covers that I have done and that I would like to redo in post. I've been making them for years and I do really want to post them. I feel like a lot of the covers that I really, really like and that I want to post, I've never gotten around to posting yet because I love them so much. I want them to be perfect. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
And like something else that's a really big thing for you that's about to happen is you're going on tour, the Mortal Genesis tour. That's so exciting. You're gonna go to LA, Atlanta, and New York. How has that experience been so far? Like practicing, I've seen some of the band practices that you've posted on TikTok, Instagram. How has that been like?
Yes. It's been really nerve-wracking, but also exciting. I'm just I'm not used to I'm used to just like singing alone in my room on my computer. And so it's been really interesting, learning how all of these different components work together, working with a team, even just I mean, I had to the first hurdle I had to jump over was literally just being comfortable with singing in front of other people, which is still uncomfortable for me. But I feel like it's gotten better the more I've practiced with them and just figuring out all the different ways I can use my voice and ranges that I didn't even know like I, was capable of before. Just because I'm used to, singing in a little microphone. And now I have to kind of like amplify my voice in a way that I just hadn't been used to. So it's been really cool. And I'm also just very nervous because I'm not really a performer. And so this is just a whole new territory for me that I'm just starting to explore.
Yeah, that sounds exciting but also frightening, especially like for the first time. But I'm sure like it's gonna go great and like your fans are gonna love it. New fans. Yeah, I just can't wait. Um, and kind of on the topic of like tour, um, your second album, like you just mentioned how finding out ways that your voice, you can use your voice in like ways you've never thought you could use. Your second album, Inferno, is like definitely a shift in your previous work, Gardener of Eden. And like, and I saw like a comment where you said, um, you were able to kind of learn how to like scream and sing like through getting sick. Is that something that you just am able to have? Is that like a skill that you're just able to use at any time now?
Yes. I I really for years even before I put out my first album like I really wanted to scream and I think I referenced it a few times in my first album listening to metal and wishing that I could scream and I tried so hard to learn there are just some I feel like there are just some skills vocally and otherwise that it doesn't matter how many times someone tells you how to do it, you have to somehow figure it out on your own. Almost like riding a bike. Like people can tell you how to do it, but there's kind of this like this hurdle you have to overcome mentally and also physically where you just 1 minute you can't ride the bike and then the next minute suddenly you're doing it and you're like, "Wait a second, I just figured it out." And that was kind of how screaming was for me. And now I can do it just fine, but for whatever reason I couldn't at first.
That's really interesting. Yeah, I can't
It's
wait.
weird.
Yeah, that's yeah, I wish I had that skill. It's like kind of a like maybe like a superpower even, I feel like. Um but yeah, I can't
Manifesting
yeah, yeah. Thank
dreams.
you. Thank you so much. Yeah, that's gonna be so much fun on the tour, I bet. Like your fans are gonna love that. Um and also, I feel like going back to maybe like how you write your songs and like your songwriting process, I think a lot of fans and listeners probably know you from your song Lilith on your first album. And again, it's like you have like this pa like superpower almost that you're able to create such beautiful and like haunting and emotional songs that touch your fans and any like listeners just soul, but you're using such of a like terrible experience that happened to you and you're just able to morph it into such a beautiful piece of art. How is that like is that reflective of the rest of your songwriting process? And like maybe this is for people who are also aspiring artists. How would you do you have any like songwriting tips about how they can kind of make their songs feel more authentic and real, just trying to convey the emotions that maybe they are struggling to convey in the way that you do?
I think so. I'll say this. I really didn't understand how to write a song before. But I've been writing poetry my whole life. And I mean, almost everything that I've written has started out as poetry that I've written. And for me, I typically have a hard time processing and understanding what I'm going through without the use of like an analogy or a metaphor or some sort of symbolism. Sometimes, like when I'm writing out my things, that'll be the epiphany for me that I didn't even realize like I needed. Just kind of like writing out my stream of thoughts thing. I think that's where the authenticity comes from, though. When I feel stressed out, I just think of like, for example, I haven't released this song, but it's called The Damned, and it's about I was having this particularly bad anxiety attack episode about I could like feel my bipolar episode coming in where I was going to enter this like really depressed state. And it just felt like the world was like closing in around me. And there was nothing I could do except just get it out of me. I always freaking say this. I'm sure it's so corny, but I say I write in ink because it feels like I'm sucking the poison out of my soul, just taking everything out and writing it down. And sometimes I will just write like the emotion I'm feeling, but most of the time I will think of the gravity of how intense this emotion feels and think about what I could relate that to that is just as extreme as that feeling, that emotion. And I feel like that really helps me with like my story building and my writing. Sometimes if something is too traumatic for me, I will kind of remove myself or put something into a like third person perspective so that I can almost observe the thing that had happened to me in a safe way where like I can tell the story and I'm kind of removed from it. Um, I would say like yeah, the best advice that I could give for writing lyrics, I read a lot of poetry. I will like take little bits and pieces and fragments from my favorite poems and write them down. And I sometimes I will like use that line, or most of the time, what I do is if I really like it, I will read it and then alter it and adjust to fit like what I'm going through or what I think would be more cohesive for my song. Or I'll use that as like the jumping off point to write an entire song. Most of my stuff is just kind of stream of consciousness. I just let things flow. I also keep what I call a lyric bank, and I keep it in my notes app on my phone. And I keep I have like a little notebook like this where I write things down too, and it'll literally just be like fragments of words or like a lyric, just one word even, or a color that I like, and I keep it all there. So then I can go back when I'm writing a song, and if I need a lyric to fill in somewhere, I can just go through and find one that like works.
That's awesome. Yeah.
I'm on my Adderall right now. Sorry if I'm like super chatty.
No, no, we love that. No, you're like dropping like pieces of wisdom. Like, um, no, that's so, I feel like that's so like insightful
I hope
too.
that's helpful.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think that was like really useful for anyone who, I mean, I love like kind of like writing songs. Like I wish I could get more into it. I think if I had more time, that's something like I would love to continue doing. So I feel like that was very helpful. And I'm sure like I think like it's just really hard to sometimes say exactly what you mean, but not like you also don't want to say that either because you want it to feel more emotional in a way or just kind of like find ways to
Yeah.
articulate it in a different way. So yeah, that was lovely. And I love the like how
You.
writing is like you're sucking out the poison from yourself. I think that's poetic, like so beautiful.
It really does feel that.
Okay. All right, we had a bit of a technical difficulty, but we're back. Um, and you mentioned how like you have like unreleased work. Um, and I know you also kind of gave a preview on like a song called Catabasis, if that's correct.
Yes.
With tour, do you think is that like kind of a segue into like releasing new music, or is that something you are planning to do like on the tour? Is there anything you could like comment on that?
Catabasis is still I probably what I shouldn't have done was release it so soon. I was just really excited, but that one is still very much in the works. It's not complete yet. That was one of the first songs that I really got to compose with someone. Like in a style in a way that like I had really been wanting to do. And I'm still trying to figure out every time I end up composing something, it is super long because I'm also like I'm a classically trained musician, and so I'm very used to like very long scores and pieces. And so every time I try to write something, it ends up being this whole like it's in movements and like all these different parts to it. So that one is still very much a work in progress, and this like exciting challenge. Um, so I won't be playing that on the tour. I think one unreleased now that I will be playing on the tour. I may or may not have another one that I'll play. We'll see. But I really want to perfect Catabasis and all of those unreleased that I've teased that I have not finished yet. I want to perfect them for a different tour.
Ooh, okay. Yeah, wait, that sounds so exciting. I can't wait. And like with this string of shows and like maybe the shows in the past, do you have like a favorite show that you've done and maybe a city that you're looking forward to the most?
So I haven't ever done like a an official show, but my most recent one that I did, I'll share two things. The most recent one that I did was at actually my favorite cemetery, the Oakland Cemetery in Atlanta. I love it there. Um, and I did that on my birthday, so September 28th. I guess every year they have the annual Tunes in the Tombs or from the Tombs. And all these different bands get to volunteer and perform in front of like a different mausoleum. And so that just felt so like this is so me. I get to perform at the cemetery. So I thought that was just a really cool experience. I was very awkward and nervous, but it ended up being really cool. Um, the second one that I remember is I did this was I think 2 or 3 years ago. I had just released my album Gardener of Eden, and it wasn't like it didn't really have any streams yet. And I remember going to a lesbian open mic and I performed Lilith there. So that was I think 2022. And like I don't even think I was going by my stage name yet, and I also forgot to introduce myself after I performed it. So then I had to come back up after someone else had just performed, so that was silly. And now I remember to always introduce myself. But I think the place that I'm most excited to perform I mean, I'm excited to do all of it, but I think I'm really excited to play in my hometown in Atlanta. I'm at the Masquerade. I'm at the Masquerade all the time. I go to the goth club there frequently, and I think it's really cool because I think there's a goth night the night before my show, so I think I'm probably going to go out there and party and then come back the next day. So it's just really cool to like come full circle. I've always wanted to play at the Masquerade, so I'm really excited about that with
Yeah,
all my friends around me.
that's awesome. I can't wait. And I guess like to sort of wrap up the interview, I have this like quick fire section where
Okay.
fans can kind of just get to know like some like small like fun facts about you. Um, and yeah, so let me know when you're ready and I'll just go
Okay.
ahead. Yeah.
Okay. I'm ready.
All right. Um, what is your favorite color?
Um, wait, I have a few. I,
Oh,
I like lots of colors. I don't know. I love crimson red. I love like a I'm so drawn to anything like dark green, like forest green. I gravitate toward that. Baby blue. I love baby blue.
wait,
I
sorry.
think those are the ones.
Not to like sidetrack.
But
When you mentioned like dark,
yeah.
I love your lily pad like photo shoot. And like
Oh,
the
thank you
yeah, the lily pad vinyl. That's like the cutest thing ever.
so
Um,
much. I'm so excited to get to do
yeah.
that.
Yeah. And then okay, going back to the quick fire, favorite anime?
Oh my God. Also, I have a bunch. I love Fruits Basket. That was my very first manga I ever read, also fourth grade. And I love Attack on Titan. I mean, it's a classic. We've actually been practicing, the whole band has been practicing with edits of Attack on Titan playing, and it's so funny. Like every time it syncs up, we're like, that looks so cool. Oh my God. I, I don't know. I have so many that I like. I love Black Butler. I mean, who doesn't? It's a
Yeah.
classic.
And that
Comic
was
Sans.
your first anime, right? Or you made a cover and then it
Oh,
was
my first ever anime was Princess Tutu.
yes, that's what it was.
Love
Yeah,
Princess Tutu.
that's awesome. Um,
Yeah.
okay. Favorite music genre?
Ooh. Um, like I love goth. I listen to a lot of goth. Um, and I guess like alternative rock would be the word. Like the Cranberries, I love Cocteau Twins, that sort of thing.
Yeah. Dream collab.
Oh my God, I literally just said this the other day, and now I can't remember. Dream collab. I have a few. I would love to do a collab with Loathe. They're one of my favorite bands. Um, I think a Deftones collab would be really cool. Uh, also Cocteau Twins, I think would be really cool. Um, there's one on the tip of my tongue that I said the other day and I can't remember. I would love to do a collab with Solia. Solia, if you see this.
Um, Next one is favorite food.
Cuban sandwich.
That's good. Um, Favorite or Atlanta artist you want to shout out?
Favorite Atlanta artist. Um, Mood Ring. I love Mood Ring.
Oh. And last question, and I feel like this is gonna be really tough since it's like asking who's like your favorite child, but favorite Saint Evangeline. Am I saying it correctly? Saint Evangeline, right? Okay. Favorite Saint Evangeline song.
Oh no. Can I do top three?
Yes, top three.
Okay. Inferno. Um, I really like my favorite when I put out just my first album, Digital Snow. I love Digital Snow. Um, Sorry, my brother tried to call me. Can you still see me?
Yes, I can see it.
Okay, cool. And then my final favorite as of right now is Rain Dance, which I'm releasing next week. I'm really excited. It's like my first ever real love song, and it's dedicated to my girlfriend. And it just has all of my favorite like ethereal elements to it. So I'm excited.
Oh, wait, that's awesome. I can't wait. I'll definitely be on the lookout for the new song and your show. Yeah, well, that concludes our interview for today. Thank you so much, Saint Evangeline, for coming on. It was such an honor to get to know you and like speak with you.
Thank
And
you so much for having me.
yeah, of course, if you're ever in the Atlanta area near Emory, you're always welcome. And yeah, thank you for all our listeners for tuning in to St. Evangeline on WMRE. We are Emory's student-run radio station. Make sure to check out her show on November 1st at the Masquerade in Purgatory. Thank you guys.
Bye.